Hi, I'm Michael Salustio, nutrition consultant and personal fitness trainer at Evolutions. Welcome to another workout with the E2021 Challenge. This is Anmarie.
Hi guys.
What do you do?
I'm a Pilates instructor. I teach bar, and yeah, that's me.
Okay, so we're here to talk to you today about we're doing an upper body workout, and then we're going to talk about how to breathe during an upper body workout. And so most people think, well, I don't need help breathing. I know how to breathe during a workout. We're just going to provide for you today an alternative way of breathing, probably different from what you're doing now. So there are many ways to breathe while working out, and I'm talking about strength training specifically, while working out, strength training with weights or elastic resistance or Pilates, body weight, whatever you do. So the typical way, the most common way that's taught is to exhale on the contraction and then inhale on the eccentric or the return part of the motion, right? Or the relaxing part of the motion. And so that works for a lot of people. What we have found, and actually Anmarie and I were talking about this recently, and how do you breathe when you work out? And we realized we both had the same philosophy of breathing when applied to strength training. And hers comes from Pilates, obviously, and
yes.
Mine comes from yoga because I practice yoga quite frequently, and there's a certain way you breathe in yoga. So essentially, you're moving with your breath, and we'll teach you the specific technique here in a minute. But the idea behind it is that you're always breathing while you're moving. So
exactly.
In both parts of the motion, on the, let's say if a chest press is the push and then the pull, you're exhaling or inhaling. Okay, and we'll tell you how to breathe during that, as well as other exercises that we're going to do while we're doing them. Anything to add?
Yes, we feel like this breath technique also helps facilitate, especially in Pilates, and I try to talk about it whenever I'm teaching any sort of movement, that the breath can help connect the abdominal wall to help support the spine and posture, and then of course help support the muscles that you're trying to work. So for us, I think of pulling the abdominals in and up while I take a full breath in and hang on to that connection as I exhale. And then as we work the different ways the body moves, either with flexion or extension, the breath work that Michael's speaking of will help support those movements in the most effective way. So not only is it safe, but it's also giving you a stronger connection to your core as well as whatever body muscle you're trying to target, which today it's going to be our upper body.
And what I like about this also, to add on to what Anmarie said in terms of the benefits, is that it allows you to focus on the muscles that you're working through your breath, and allows the muscles that you're not working during any particular exercise to relax. Because a lot of times you find, like for instance, if you're doing a bicep curl, where yeah, your biceps are contracted, but what else feels tight? Is your neck getting tight while you're doing it? It's probably because you're not breathing correctly. And so I found this approach to breathing actually helps you not only get the most out of your workout or your exercise, as Anmarie explained, but it helps to relax the muscles that you're not targeting at that moment. And so the perspective we're going to provide here is basically we're focused on the torso or the trunk, right? What is that part of your body doing or trying to do while you're moving? And so when applied to upper body, we think of it like this. If your torso or your trunk is in a flexion mode, so this is flexion, this is extension, right? This is away from your body, right? So that's extension, right? And this is flexion, right? And so we're going to apply it to all the exercises we do, but the idea here is that when you're in flexion movement, you're going to exhale, because that's your body's most natural rhythm. And so we're trying to work with that rhythm so we can get the most out of the exercise. And when your body's moving into extension, then you're going to inhale. Hope that makes sense.
That sounds good. And of course, it's going to take a little getting used to. So at the end of the day, the only wrong breath is the one you don't take. So even if you feel a little off, just having an awareness of your breath could just give you a whole different sense of maybe you're holding your breath. I find that a lot of people, myself included, if I'm doing something new, I might be holding the breath, which won't help any muscle work, especially my brain. So, it will take a little getting used to, and we're going to guide you through it through this workout.
Great. One more thing. I found that if you're breathing correctly or you're optimizing your breathing while you're strength training, that you're not only getting the most out of that exercise, but you're increasing circulation. And I've also found the biggest benefit for me is I can last longer in that particular set. My endurance is increased. How many times do you find out where you're working, especially big muscles, where you run out of breath before your muscles get tired, right? You're just running out of steam. And so this way we're going to optimize that and hopefully increase endurance and therefore increase strength and so forth, right? All right, so let's start off with, let's see.
We're going to start off with a push-up.
Push-up, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Not my favorite, but I'm going to demonstrate the modification while Michael's going to demonstrate the ideal.
Okay, so I'm going to be on my toes in a plank position. Anmarie's going to be on her knees.
I'm working really hard to pull my heel strongly into my bum to create a plank essentially from my shoulder to my knees.
So with the push-up, what you want to do is make sure your hands are a little wider than your shoulders so you get the most out of your pectoralis muscles as you're doing it, okay? So using that breathing technique, on our way down, we're going to inhale and exhale up. Inhale down, exhale up, because as we're going down, our spine, our trunk is moving into extension and moving into flexion as we're pushing up. Hopefully you're doing these with us. Good, let's try 4 more.
Really controlling the down, holding on to that strong connection to your abdominals so your lower spine is supported. And again, that breath will help you stay connected.
And you've got a little bit of tension in your abs so your back doesn't arch on the way down.
Okay.
Great. So we're gonna do what's called supersetting. So we're gonna couple that up with another exercise. In this case, we're gonna do a bent over row. So I'm gonna do mine using the chair as a prop. And we're just gonna do a standing version.
And Michael's got his big, super heavy weight, and I've got the one that's appropriate for me. And I'm totally okay with that.
All right, so what we're gonna do here is, again, a little tension in your abs, always, just to keep your back supported. And your shoulders square. And then pull the weight in towards you. So there are a couple different ways to do this. One is to keep the elbow in tight to your torso. So you're gonna focus more on the lat muscles, latissimus dorsi muscles. You're also working some rear delts here and some biceps. The breathing is inhale up, exhale down. Inhale an extension, exhale an flexion. And again, when we say extension and flexion, we're focused on what the trunk is trying to do. So this exercise is where it might be a little bit counterintuitive to you because you're used to exhaling as you pull the way up and inhaling down. We're doing the opposite. Inhale up, exhale down. Let's do the other side.
Okay. For me, I'm just trying to feel like my weight is even between both legs in sort of a lunge and holding on to all those same ideas of keeping my abdominals pulling up to help keep my spine nice and long so I can just isolate the arm that's working and then of course focusing on the breath. And I would say notice how there's sort of a pause at the top, giving your body and mind an opportunity to kind of connect to those muscles, resisting gravity and that weight, depending on how heavy it is.
Yeah, so you make sure you get a full contraction by pausing at the top.
Okay.
Great, let's go back to the push-up. So this time Anmarie's going to do a standing version.
So countertop will work, and you just make sure that it's stable, hands wider than your shoulders. You just find that plank position, and you try to have that same control down and up.
My modified version is going to be feet on the ball, get my core really engaged.
He's definitely the one that shows off in this video.
I've got to make up for it. 'Cause you look better than I do, so.
I don't know about that.
Remember your breathing. Inhale down, exhale up. A few more.
It's amazing how just changing your placement, whether it's from the floor to the ball to a countertop, can really engage a little deeper, especially as you do these supersets. Just giving some variety. Okay? We have another chest press, the bent over row.
Bent over row. Yeah. This time I'm going to do the opposite arm first,
Okay.
just to mix it up.
Okay.
So again, inhale up, exhale down, and focus on the muscle that you're really targeting here. I mean, I know there are several muscles working, like your bicep and your rear delts, but the big muscle group we're really trying to focus on here is the lats. That big fan-shaped muscle that runs along your back, from your shoulder blades to your hip. So, mentally, just visualize that muscle contracting. Squeeze at the top.
So Michael, talk about weight. Like, how do you know if you have an appropriate weight? You know, depending on how you're feeling in the workout. Like, how do I know that I have the right weight for me?
So I like to use a number of reps to determine how much weight I should use. So if you're really trying to increase muscle density, muscle hypertrophy, I like to use an 8 to 12 rep set to start with. So that means I pick a weight that I can lift or push at least 8 times and not more than 12.
Okay.
If I can't make it to 8, it's too heavy.
Okay.
If I can do more than 12, it's too light.
Cool.
Because you're trying to get the muscle to failure, or at least temporary failure, until you hit it again.
And that's a great way to know your progression, like how your progress is going as you do these workouts.
Yeah.
To figure out, is it time to send a weight up or go up a weight?
Yep.
Okay, where do we go next?
Okay, next we're doing chest press on the ball or on the floor. And we'll pair that off with a bicep curl.
Okay. So I get to just lay down onto the floor, feet flat, just trying to honor the natural curve of my spine.
I'm going to use the ball, so my core is going to be a lot more engaged.
Okay.
My head and shoulders are on the ball. So I'm using the ball as my bench. I'm in a tabletop position. So my glutes are engaged, my hamstrings are engaged. There's a lot going on here. And the breathing, exhale up, inhale back.
You can feel the spine or the chest expanding or extending on the way down, which was your key to inhale. And what's nice if this is new to you, the floor is very supportive, so it can actually give you a really nice awareness of what your abdominals are doing. And because you're working with gravity, it's helping you to hold on to that, and then you can really find that nice connection and control with the weights so that when you do move to something more challenging like what Michael's doing, you've got a really strong foundation and some muscle memory of what's happening.
Bring it in, walk it up.
Biceps next?
We're doing biceps next. You can use those?
Yeah.
All right. I've only got so many weights in here, so I'm going to use these.
Okay.
So I'm going to do, by the way, your stance, when you're doing a standing exercise, one foot a little bit in front of the other, that supports your back. Abs are engaged. So the breathing on a bicep curl is going to be what?
I think inhale up, exhale down.
Yeah.
And remember, even if you feel like all of a sudden you notice that your breath is off, the important part is breathing, and then bring it back to what the goal is. Knowing that, it might take a little adjustment if you're not even used to paying attention to your breath.
And again, it's a little counterintuitive for some people doing a bicep curl because they're used to exhaling on the way up.
Which is sort of, I think, a feeling of like that's where the exertion is,
Yeah.
right? But you
But
can
keep in
find,
mind, yeah, your eccentric part of your motion, the return,
yeah,
there's a lot more work being done in the muscle in the eccentric part of it,
right.
right?
Yes. So we go back to our chest press
Yep.
from the floor. For me, so feet parallel and apart is supported. And then think of I'm thinking about trying to find that connection to my shoulder
It
blades
wasn't
on the
even
mat.
the ball.
And then bend your elbows, lowering. So for me, Michael, would I try to get my elbows all the way to the floor? Or would I stop just before?
Yeah, you don't want to rest your elbows on the floor because here's
Right.
the idea with strength training, you want the muscle under tension at all times. Get the most out of your set. So the minute your muscle relaxes, like if you rest your elbows on the floor, you've technically got to start over again with that exercise because you've relaxed the muscle. This is why we have a certain number of reps we want to do or get to a failure. If you rest each time on the way down,
Right.
it's going to take you a lot longer to get to failure.
Inhale, exhale.
It's hard to talk and work out.
Welcome to my world.
Let's just do 2 more here.
Okay.
Pull it in.
Should we try to stand with our other foot in front for the bicep set
Yes.
again?
Absolutely. So, now I'm going to throw another wrench into this system,
Okay.
and I'm going to alternate. So, what do you do if you're doing an alternating exercise? How are you going to breathe? You know what? Just make sure you're breathing.
Right. It can't go possibly with the movement because it's too.
Right. You're not going to do the inhale, exhale,
Right.
because they're both in motion at the same time. And if you're doing this approach to bicep curls where you're alternating, make sure you don't do this, where you're resting one before bringing the other one up. Keep them both in motion at the same time because of that constant tension you want on the muscle. And if you want to hit your forearms more, you can turn your hands over and hit your forearms.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. The guys like this one. Girls don't like the big forearms.
That's
But-
not that attractive.
I'm sorry, was that sexist?
I'm just not even going to answer that. All right.
Try it.
Moving on to triceps. Are we there
Yeah.
now?
We're doing, tricep extension and lateral raise of shoulders. So let's do triceps first. I'm going to do mine in the ball.
I would say if you have a ball but you're not clear about the exercises and what's happening, starting on a solid, non-moving surface is always a good way to go. And then just once you feel like you've got the movement, go into a moving plane or something that's unstable. At least you've got the muscle memory and the choreography. No
Sure.
judgment. It's all about quality.
For this exercise, you can use a barbell or a dumbbell. You can even use one dumbbell at a time if you want. But you want the elbow directly over the shoulder. Just like in the chest press, if you're on the ball, your head and shoulders on the ball. That way, because if you just your shoulders on the ball and your head's off, you got a lot of neck tension there you have to deal with. And remember, we're trying to maximize the tension in the muscle we're working, not in the other muscles that are supporting your body position. Always with the exception of your abs. You always want some tension there. So, how are we breathing on this one? It's just like that bicep curl, because really this is just the reverse
Right.
of the bicep curl in terms of the muscle we're working. It's the opposite muscle, right?
Mm-hmm. I can really feel the gravitational pull on that weight and trying to control it down. And for some people, you might have a little hyperextension in your elbow. You want to be sure you stop before the elbow locks into that hypermobility. So you keep the muscle engaged. like Michael just spoke of.
Okay, so you can take these same weights if you want,
I think I
but
need
chances
to go
are
on.
you might need lighter weights. Matter of fact, I'm not going to be able to last the whole exercise by using the same weights.
Okay.
So this is lateral raises for shoulders, right? Mostly your deltoids. So I like to keep the range of motion here fairly limited because if I go above my shoulders here,
Right.
I'm putting a lot of tension on my neck. And in terms of on the way down, if I go all the way down, I'm relaxing those muscles.
Right.
And that just flies in the face of what we talked about earlier, which is muscles under tension the whole time. So about halfway down will do. Because I can feel my shoulders are under constant tension here.
Yeah.
Now, if you start to feel some tension in your neck, which is common on this one, then you're going to tighten up your abs even more. And you're going to make sure you're breathing correctly. So, what's the breathing on this? We're inhaling up, exhaling down. Inhale up, exhale down.
Wow, I really feel this one.
Yeah.
In a good way. Of course.
How about two more?
Oh, geez. Okay. Back to triceps. Yes?
Yes. So, one variation or two variations you can do in this exercise, in addition to what we've already done, if Anmarie lifts her feet off the floor,
Oh, yeah.
you're going to engage your abs a little more, right?
Yes. That's a good one.
And I can just lift one foot off the floor, and now my abs and my glutes are more engaged.
And just make sure to alternate, right? Don't get uneven. This is a good time to count your reps.
Which we haven't really been doing, but
No.
I can't count and talk at the same time.
Well, you set it up so you know if you start counting and you find your fatigue, that lets you know if you have the right weight.
How about two more?
Okay.
All right.
So I'm going to be sure to have my other foot in front as I do the second set. Remember, get up slowly so you don't get a head rush. All right.
Inhale up, exhale down.
I find if you get lost with your breath, start with an exhale, because you will definitely inhale.
So, just another thing about breathing. We talked earlier about how there are different ways to breathe. This is just one way. It's a way that Anmarie and I have found works best for us.
Right.
If you try this, and when I say try, I mean give it a few rounds, you know? Give it a couple of workouts before you decide to bail. Because it does take some retraining of your brain. You're not used to doing this, it's going to be really hard in the beginning.
Right.
It's like a batter changing a swing or a golfer changing a swing. How about two more?
Okay.
There's a learning curve.
Whew. That felt great. Thank you.
All right, so just one more thing we want to touch on real quick. We know this is an upper body workout, but we're going to show you how this translates, this breathing method will translate to lower body exercises as well.
Okay.
So, squatting or leg press. It's the same motion, different body position. So if you do a squat, let's just do a free squat. You can do them with weights or not. Hands out in front as one variation. Feet a little wider than your hips. Toes pointed slightly out. When you go down, your back stays straight, right? So the reason we're showing you this lower body thing is because of the breathing. What are you going to do when you go down? If you're using our method, you're going to exhale on the way down. Inhale on the way up. Prisoner squat. Exhale down, inhale up. Because when it comes to lower body, what are your hips doing right now? Your hips are moving into flexion.
Right.
What do we do when we flex? We exhale. When they're into extension, we inhale, right? Whether you do a split squat or a freestanding squat like Anmarie's doing, the breathing is the same. Exhale down, inhale up, right? If you're on a leg press machine, same idea. As the weight comes towards you, you're exhaling. Because think about it, also, your legs are coming into your stomach, you're pushing the air out. Makes a lot more sense.
That does make sense.
Anything else?
No, I hope you guys have a great 2021 challenge, and maybe this breathing technique gives you a little more awareness, and hopefully you guys stay well, and we'll be back. Thanks so much.
Thank you.